Ever been in a meeting, maybe in a discussion as a woman in leadership, and felt like someone was trying to debate with you? Has it happened before? Well, in this video, I'm going to share with you what you need to do in terms of the very basics to get you started when you find yourself as a woman in leadership or perhaps a leader in a situation where someone is trying to debate with you back and forth. Now, if you are interested in this topic specifically, and this has happened to you, let me know in the comments below. I'd like to know what you did, how did this impact you, and what was your best secret for success that you want to share with everybody else. I do want to tell you that you want to watch this video until the end because I'm going to go over 20 years worth of experience from myself as a director, a C-suite executive, a public speaker, and an executive coach. I've interacted with several individuals on the news and also congressional leaders at the national and state level. And so I've been involved in some of those conversations that can be very friendly or be a bit contentious, where you may encounter debating a bit. So you're going to learn some information here. I'm going to give you just a very good overview today. If you want me to go into more detail, then let me know in the comments below. And I will do a video just for you and go more into this topic. The fact that you clicked on this video means you're meant to be here. You're meant to be here today. I know that you are on your leadership journey and you are encountering the challenges that come up. And this is my expertise here, specifically on this channel. My role is to help you communicate at a higher level than your peers. And you will absolutely gain some very good insights here on this channel specifically that go over real strategies, real techniques that you can use in your day-to-day conversations to help you stand out from all the other leaders that are there. Now, particularly my audience specifically that I work with in terms of my one-on-one executive coaching practice are women in leadership. However, on YouTube, LinkedIn, Instagram, I have women in leadership that are in my direct audience that I provide one-on-one services to, but I also have men in leadership as well. And so I appreciate you all being here, regardless of if you are a man or a woman in leadership. Just know that the information I share with you will help you wherever you are in your journey, and the information I share with you in terms of communication and leadership truly does transcend gender, and you'll learn something for sure in these videos. Now, this is a live video, so if you're watching this portion of the video, you are more than likely watching the replay, friend, and welcome. Glad that you're here today. There is typically a point in time in the videos where everybody starts to join the discussion, so just give me just a few moments so I can say hello to everyone, and then we'll go right into this topic in terms of how you can manage yourself when someone's trying to debate with you as a leader. Now, one of the first strategies that I share with anyone, especially my one-on-one clients, when they are encountering someone that is trying to debate with them or potentially banter back and forward with them, is that you have to first, most importantly, this is probably the most important strategy you can do, is to listen to what is being said. Why is listening so important? Because if you listen to what is being said to you, when someone's trying to debate with you, then you will be able to determine what you want to do in terms of the next step that I'm going to share with you. Now, you may be asking, well, how do I know if someone is trying to debate with me? Well, let me give you an example. Let's say they ask you a question and they're expecting a response back, and maybe they don't like something that you said, or maybe they don't agree with something that you said. Then they ask you another question, and then you respond back. And then they ask you another question. That is a bit of a debate. If you look at any of the political leaders or public officials, when you see debates like presidential debates or congressional debates or etc., notice what is happening. There is a conversation that is taking place between two people. And within this conversation, what is happening? There is typically a perspective, or there may be something that the other person may not necessarily entirely agree with what is being said. So this is how you can tell you're in a debate. And as I mentioned, the first strategy you want to do is you want to listen to what is actually being said. Why is listening so important? Because if you cannot pick up on whether the comment is, in my mind, I'll go through how my algorithm is when someone's trying to debate me. But if you can't pick up the intention of the comment or the question, it is going to make it very, very difficult for you to be able to respond in a way that continues to showcase you as a leader or showcases your executive presence. So let me give you my algorithm in terms of what I do specifically when I'm asked a question. It doesn't matter what the question is. If someone asks me a question and I'm not sure if it's going to be a debate or if they're going to go back and forth with me on it or not, this is specifically what I do. First, I listen to what's being said. That's number one. I do this on a day-to-day basis. I listen to what's being said because I need to determine one or two things quickly, okay? The first, I need to determine, is this statement, is this question, is this comment friendly or unfriendly? One of the two. You can go in the middle. You can be neutral, but in my mind, in terms of how I make things a bit more decisive, is this comment being said, is it a friendly comment or is it unfriendly? One of the two. And depending on if I feel like it's friendly or unfriendly determines what my next step is. Now, let me say hello, someone joined in the chat. Hello, Crazy Blue Monkey. Welcome, welcome, friend. Hoping that you're doing fantastically well today. Let me know where you're joining from in the big, beautiful world today. So we talked about you have to listen if you feel like someone's debating with you. That's number one. Number two, you have to learn how to respond. And you are not going to be able to respond in a way that showcases your executive presence, showcases you as a leader that can manage yourself under pressure if you don't listen to what's being said. You do not want to be in a scenario where you are listening to what someone's saying. Baby, you're immediately on defense, right? You're immediately on defense and you think, well, this is an unfriendly comment. When in actuality, it probably was friendly. You don't want to make that mistake because then it comes across as you're being way too aggressive with a specific topic. And that's something that you don't necessarily want to do. Now, I mentioned to you about listening, how listening is so incredibly, incredibly important. Use my strategy, use my decision-making tree in terms of what I do. This is what I recommend is that you determine quickly, is this a friendly or unfriendly comment? If it's friendly, then respond in a friendly way. If the comment in a debate is unfriendly, then you have to respond, maybe not in an unfriendly way, but a very affirmative type of way. This is very important in terms of debates. So let me take a look at what's in the chat. Black Lives Matter. Hello, welcome, welcome. Hope you're doing well. And I want to know from you, are you at a place where you've had a debate? Maybe you've had a debate as a leader and you've had some challenges. Let me know in the comments below. I'd like to see what your experiences are because we talk about real strategies, real techniques, real situations that happen to leaders here. And the information I'm sharing with you is going to help you be able to communicate at a higher level than your peers. So if you are serious about trying to advance yourself as a leader and grow as an individual, then this is the best place for you. If this is something you're not taking it really too seriously, this is probably not the best place for you. Now, I talked to you about two strategies. So the first is, one, we have to listen to what's being said. Second, use my decision-making tree. I determine quickly, when you hear the comment, you have to determine, is this friendly or is this an unfriendly comment, statement, question that is being made? Now, the third strategy I want to share with you is that you have to respond accordingly. So as I mentioned, if it is a friendly comment, then respond in a friendly way. If it is an unfriendly comment, then you want to be able to respond in a very affirmative way. So let me give you an example. If someone mentions a question specifically, and let's say they're talking to you about a project that you're working on, and they say, you know what, Mrs. Jones, Mr. Jones, whoever, this project is taking entirely too long for you to complete. So what's going on with it? Now, let me know, what do you think? Was the comment that I made, do you think it was friendly or unfriendly? Let me know in the comments below if you're watching the replay. I intentionally made that as an unfriendly comment. Why? I'm asking a question. Now, maybe I do have a legitimate concern about a project, but it's the tone of voice that is being used is what determines that this comment is unfriendly. So how do you manage that? Well, there's a couple things that you can do if you have those unfriendly comments, and this is how you want to respond in terms of our third strategy. So if someone says something unfriendly to you, or you get the sense that this is borderline unfriendly, and I believe I need to address it, you have to cover your bases so that you are presenting yourself as a leader and really showcasing your executive presence. So if someone makes a comment to you like that, you can say something that affirms what you are doing. So at this point, you're going to be a bit on defense, but being more on offense, if that makes sense, if you play sports. So first, you want to acknowledge the question and acknowledge what was being said. You have to listen. You have to listen. It's so important. If you don't get anything out of this live stream as it relates to being debated as a woman leader or as a leader, you have to listen to what's being said. You can't go in with a million things on your mind. You have to be highly focused on what is being said so you know how to direct your response. Listen to what's being said. And you may want to acknowledge whatever the issue is. So for my one-on-one clients, and if this is something you struggle with in terms of being able to communicate under pressure, then contact me for a strategy session in the description below. Just wanted to put that out there. But if you have someone that says something unfriendly, I am a very big component of you have to state the elephant in the room, or you have to state specifically what is the challenge, what is the issue. Because if you don't, and you let someone else say it, then it looks not as well polished on your end if someone else is pointing out your specific mistakes. So in this case, you could say, I understand this project has taken a long time. It has taken a long time. We've had this challenge, that challenge, these type of challenges come into play. However, we have made some significant strides, significant improvements with this project, and we are anticipating to resolve this issue or finish the project within this specific time frame. Now, I've responded in a way to where I made it still very affirmative in terms of what I am saying. My tone of voice that I'm using with you now is the exact tone of voice that I would have used if someone asked me a question like that. And I've mentioned this because I've been asked questions like this before. As I mentioned, I've been in those very contentious situations, and I want to make sure that you all are equipped as women in leadership, or if you're watching a man in leadership, you're ready for these conversations. But specifically as a woman, you want to make sure that you're responding in your tone of voice that is very calm, very affirmative. Now, I talk about tone of voice in many of my live videos. I mentioned to you about finding your baseline. You have to find your baseline. If you want some help with that, contact me for a strategy session in the description below. However, I have several videos on my live channel, so I'm not going to go into a ton of detail in terms of finding your baseline here. But you want to respond in a very affirmative way, but with your most serious type of voice. Why? So I mention this because the person that asks you that question, it could be one or two things. They may be asking you that question intentionally to be unfriendly, or they may be asking you in a way that is, they may not mean to be unfriendly in terms of how it's coming across, but it is. So let's say if they are intentionally coming across unfriendly, then you have handled it by how you're responding back to them in a very affirmative way. If it is something that is unintentional and they didn't mean to come across that way, but it just came across that way, maybe they're frustrated, they're tired, you still are showcasing your executive presence because you are in a situation where you can have that conversation and still basically let them know, okay, I got the sense this was unfriendly. Let me make sure that I completely close this conversation. And that is the way you handle someone in a debate when they're debating back and forth with you. You acknowledge whatever it is that might be an issue. Do not let the other person bring out your weaknesses in front of a group of a whole bunch of people, because then it will make it look like you are not confident, you do not know what you're doing, and that is something you do not want to have in a debate, whether you are a woman in leadership, you're a man in leadership, or you're a public official. You do not want to appear as a person that has no idea what they're doing, especially in front of a group of people, period, but especially in front of a good group of people. And that's why it's really important in terms of you using these strategies that I'm sharing with you. Now, if they are responding in a way that is friendly, then you respond in a friendly way. But as I mentioned, if you get the sense it's unfriendly, there's a way to have those difficult conversations and still lighten the mood. So if you reflect on what I said, and if you were or listen to me very closely, just rewind back to how I responded to the question. There was a point in my response where I elevated my voice. I did this on purpose. Why? Because when you elevate your voice, not high, like high pitched, like you're very, very excited, but if you elevate your voice in such a way to where it feels like you're adding a bit of life to a situation, maybe you're injecting a bit of humor, it lightens the mood of the conversation you're having. It comes across as the people who are watching you, it comes across as, oh, I saw that Mr. Jones had a conversation with Mrs. Smith, and he tried to give Mrs. Smith a hard time, but Mrs. Smith responded back in a very, very appropriate, very strong type of way. That's how people sometimes relate when they see executive presence. They think of strength, they think of power, etc. It's not necessarily all about that, but I'm telling you, if you are in a leadership meeting and you have clicked on this video, you, my leader, my friend, have been in those situations. And you know how optics are very, very important, especially when you are a woman in leadership. They are very important because many times, especially as women in leadership, we may be the first in many roles. For example, you may be the first woman CEO in your organization ever. You may be the first woman senior vice president of your organization ever. You may be the first woman that owned a business in this field ever. And the way you respond, and I know this sounds like, what in the world am I saying? But the way you respond is setting the tone for the rest of the interactions you have with other people, and is setting the tone for how people are going to respond to you. Now, you are going to have people that are just going to be completely inappropriate and be disrespectful. There's ways to handle those individuals, and if you've experienced that, that's when you need to reach out to me, for sure. Reach out to me for a strategy session in the description below. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about how we can prepare you so when those situations come up, you are the one that appears very calm, very collected, and very much in control of the situation when those situations happen, because they do happen to you, especially as women in leadership. It happens to men in leadership too. But of course, in this video specifically, I'm discussing with women. But you might be the first woman of a different role. I talk about this in several of my master classes. You know, many decades ago, we were not in leadership roles as you see them now, more so in our businesses and in corporate America here in the United States, or not even only in the United States, I would say in the world. There are women that are prime ministers of countries and etc. And so to have a woman in those type of roles decades and decades ago would have been completely unheard of. And the fact that we are transitioning into these roles very quickly, I found that there's this gap that we just don't know in terms of how do we conduct ourselves when we're under pressure. It is very, very challenging to hold yourself together and still respond in a non-biased emotional way when someone is directly invoking one of your triggers. Now, if you don't know what I mean specifically by triggers, I talk about this in detail on my channel. So if you have not subscribed to this channel just yet, it's a great opportunity for you to do it. Triggers are important. You have to know your specific triggers. And this actually leads into the debate, because if you know your triggers and there's maybe something, some topic, some situation that if someone says it, you know, there's an emotional response that's going to come out of that, you absolutely need to know that in advance, because you need to be able to prepare yourself in a way where you have a very templated, canned response in those situations. You may say, well, I don't want to have things rehearsed at all. That's not how I am. Personally, leaders, I can't read off of a script. I can't do it. I'm too much of an impromptu type of communicator. I've been doing public speaking for over 20 years, so I'm very comfortable speaking with nothing, with no notes. That's what I have strived, and I have worked hard to get to where I am today. However, when I have someone that potentially is debating with me and they talk about one of my triggers, I'm telling you right now, leaders and women in leadership, I have a canned response. Even though I'm not a canned response type of person, but I have a canned response that I will automatically say. If you can master this, knowing your triggers, especially in a debate, you will set yourself up as being someone that's very calm and very collected. Now, if you're struggling with this and maybe you want to learn more about, well, how can I really put like all of this together? Then that's why you contact me. Strategy session in the description below. But knowing your triggers is incredibly important. And this, what I'm sharing with you, is why a lot of leaders and often women in leadership do struggle in leadership roles, because we just have not had that formal training, that guidance in terms of how to handle ourselves under pressure without getting really upset or very emotional about something. And that's not only just for women leaders, but it also men too. People have a hard time controlling their tempers when they get upset, regardless of what gender you are. You can get really mad very, very quickly. But how you control yourself under pressure when someone's triggering you in a debate is critically important. And this is the reason why this topic is so incredibly passionate to me, because I have seen so many women and so many men too that have been in these leadership roles, these senior leadership roles or director roles, etc., that really struggle with to this day, even though they are very seasoned with how to control their emotions under pressure. There's a way you can still communicate, but still keep your calm and cool, collected self. You just have to know your triggers and what you can do. Now, if you are caught off guard and something triggers you and you did not know that was going to trigger you, that is something we can talk about in another video. Let me know in the comments below if you've ever had a situation before where you have had someone say something to you that caught you off guard and maybe it triggered you. Let me know in the comments below. Let's talk about it. Let's come up with a strategy. I will share any insight I can with you. If you tell me your situation specifically, whatever you feel comfortable sharing, here on the comments on YouTube, or you can contact me at Dr. Jacinta Lamantai on LinkedIn, or you can contact me at Excite Excellence on Instagram. Send me a message, let me know what's going on with you, and I will help you come up with a strategy specifically for that type of situation when it comes up, because there's a way to get around everything. There's a way to have that conversation to where it's not negative, it's positive. There's a way to basically close a conversation if someone is being unfriendly to you. There's a way to do these type of conversations, and you can. I believe in you. You can handle yourself under pressure. You just need some guidance in terms of how to do it. In this video, I've shared with you several insights that can help you be able to debate someone. And I gave you just the tip of the iceberg, just the beginning. If you want to learn more, then definitely reach out to me. I have a transformative leadership program called The Real Executive Woman, where I go into this in extreme detail to get you comfortable when those very high pressure situations come up, so that you are in a good place, so that you can respond and stand out from all the other leaders there as being the amazing woman in leadership that you are. Now, let me know in the comments below which of these strategies, the ones that I shared with you, which one did you think was the best? Which one do you feel like you could probably start working on today? Let me know in the comments below. I'd be happy to provide you with any additional insights that I can and help you on your journey. Now, I do want to mention to you a couple of things just as a matter of information for you all that are my audience. One, I appreciate you all for being here, and I appreciate you so much for following me and subscribing to my channel. The channel is growing. I'm really excited about it. We're at 482 subscribers right now, and this is exciting. This is a huge milestone for me. This year has been a huge milestone for me. A lot of challenges, leaders, and one day I'll share them with you. One day. Give me a little time to get over the challenges, because I'm still in them. But God has been good. And so I'm really, really excited for this year. It's been a great year, and you all have been a huge part of it. I appreciate you being present for the live streams and engaging with me here, because we've live streamed so much that YouTube noticed my live streaming, and they have invited me to be a member of their YouTube live streamer research panel, where I provide them with feedback in terms of different ways they can interact with the audience on the platform. So just know that this is something that has been a huge benefit to myself, but also to my channel. And I just appreciate you all, because you're a big part of it. You're here, you're engaging with me, and that shows YouTube that there's something that's good and positive that's happening here. Even though from time to time, as you all know, we get our trolls, right? We get trolls, we get people to say things inappropriate. And I will make sure I have a playlist just for you all so you can see those situations when I have people say offensive comments or things that are inappropriate. I will share with you how I manage them. You'll see me do it in real time. When someone says something inappropriate, I usually will handle it in a certain way. Feel free to take anything that I do and apply it to your situation as long as it works well for you. If you have any problems, just let me know. As I mentioned to you all previously, there's a couple things I'm doing in terms of more marketing as it relates to my business. I mentioned to you previously that I'm going to show you all pictures of a graphic that I'm going to be doing on a vehicle so that it's more visibly locally. The company I worked with before were being just, I would say, what's the best way for me to say it? They were not necessarily in alignment with how I conduct myself as a leader. And so I had to switch over to another organization that I'm very excited for to see how things go. But I'll keep you all posted on how things go. Remember, I'm live Tuesday through Friday in the evenings. I am starting to go live in the mornings if you want to catch me in the mornings while I'm in my commute. And if you have any questions, let me know. If you have topics that you want me to learn more about as it relates to anything leadership related, communicating, maybe controlling your emotions under pressure, maybe being able to speak better and negotiate your salaries, or anything as it relates to those really hard conversations that you may have as a woman in leadership, then let me know. I will do a video just for you and give you a shout out in the video also. I look forward to seeing you all in the next video and I hope you have an amazing day. Bye for now.